And yeah, I mean, maybe that's just my preference of which one's the original, which one's the alternate version.
Yeah, don't know.
I mean, it's still good. I still liked it. I'm still going to listen to it.
All right.
I don't know. I wish they would go back to it. And then that's just, I don't know, my personal wishing for it, probably.
Keep wishing.
I'll keep wishing. All right. Well, while you keep wishing, did you listen to anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, let's move on into video games, where we start with new releases,
Yes.
including EA Sports FC number 25 for everything. Wide release. You got it. You can play it.
Well, it's not
That's
number
their
25, it's
football
for
club.
2025.
What's their it's not, I know, but it's their 25th edition. Not the 25th edition. This is football club. This is soccer
Yeah,
or football.
yeah. Hoot Bowl.
We also have Five Nights at Freddy's, Into the Pit for the PS4, PS5. It's for everything. Wide release. You got it. You can play it.
Yeah.
There's also Looney Tunes, Wacky World of Sports for
Yeah.
everything. Wide release.
Sure.
Also getting wide release Disney Epic Mickey, Rebrushed. Wide
Yeah.
release.
Remake of Disney Epic Mickey, a game that I played for a grand total of maybe 10 minutes back in 2008 when it came out.
Wii. I won't say it's a Wii.
Yeah, there was a Wii version of that.
Yep. Well, that's the whole point because they're paintbrush
Yeah, in the Wii
Wii
version there
remake.
was motion controls, yeah.
Yep. And then also wide release Worms Armageddon, Anniversary Collection. All right. Now for the non-wide releases. Earth Defense Force, World Brothers 2 for the PC, PS4, PS5, and the Switch. G.I. Joe, Wrath of Cobra for the PC. The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom for the Switch.
Yes, I'm surprised you didn't leave this for last because this is your big release of the week. A Legend of Zelda game is coming out this week.
Yeah,
Just
but
not with Link.
also Ara, History Untold for the PC is out this week.
Yeah, I guess yes. This is the kind of civilization like that is on
Yeah,
Game Pass for people who have Game Pass on PC.
that's why it's the last one. Get that Legend of Zelda out of here.
Sure.
Get your
All
Zelda
right.
game out of here. All right. Uh, well, let's get into the video game news, and we're gonna get through this first story real quickly because we got
Yes.
kind of two things to talk about. First,
Yeah.
Nintendo versus Palworld.
It happened finally.
They sued them. The
Yeah.
litigation will happen.
Only
Nintendo
like
and
what?
the Pokemon Company.
Yeah, only like 7 or 8 months after this was relevant, but sure,
Nine
go off.
months, it happened at the beginning of the year, January.
Yeah.
So Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have filed a patent infringement lawsuit against Palworld developed Pocket Pair. They announced on Wednesday. This lawsuit, which was filed in the Tokyo District Court, seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages, on the grounds that Palworld and game developed and released by the defendant infringes multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringements of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself. To protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years. End quote. It said in the statement.
So yeah, one big thing. Notice Tokyo. This is a Japanese lawsuit. This is not the US branch of either Nintendo or the Pokemon Company. That's first note here. That is because there is no said patent here in the US for anything related to Pokemon. However, they were able to get a patent for Pokemon in Japan. It does appear, though Nintendo hasn't explicitly stated which patent they're referring to, Stephen Totillo at GameFile did find a patent that was filed in Japan for basically more or less catching and releasing like creatures in balls. And since
Yeah,
that is
the
something,
spherical aspect of
yeah,
catching and releasing monsters.
specifically, this was around the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus in 2021. That's where this all comes from because it's in a 3D space with like a targeting reticle.
Mhm.
Not obviously referring to the Pokemon gameplay previous to that because it was not in a 3D space. sort of. Anyway, so yeah, this is interesting because of one, how long it took, and two, how specific it is. But we don't have a lot more details until this suit goes further. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like you said, the
Yeah.
lawsuit is specifically for the catching mechanism.
Yeah. I will say it
That
was really weird seeing Palworld pop up today on the state of play, which we'll talk about in a moment,
well, that's my
because this
segue.
is
You
the
just
first
ruined
time.
it.
I know, but it was weird seeing it, especially after this lawsuit went through, because I was like, oh boy, these Pokemon, see, I almost said Pokemon. These Palworld designs, man, they're very close to some Pokemon designs. And every once in a while, you have to look at them again to remind yourself, oh, that is weird, right?
It is, but you can look at them in 4K. Well, you can always look at them 4K, but actually look at the PS Pro. Wait, no, PS Pro's not
Wait,
out yet.
yeah,
Your PS5 is now available for the PlayStation 5
yeah.
for $30 if you so like to
Oof.
spend that money.
Yikes.
It's only half an Astrobot.
But yes, the state of play happened today. They stealth dropped an announcement yesterday, although some video game rumor people had this slated for this week for about a month now. But yeah, it happened. State of play, by the way, just as a reminder, is not the showcase. The showcase focuses on PlayStation Studios releases. The state of play is sometimes PlayStation Studio releases, but also third-party games. So this was the latter, not the former.
Right, which is why they announced the very heavily rumored and not at all a secret Horizon Zero Dawn remastered.
Yes.
That will be coming out this October 31st.
Yep. It's a
If
remaster of that first game. There's really nothing else to say about it.
Yeah, but if you owned that remaster version, you can get the PS5 version for $10.
Yeah, that's not bad, especially if you bought PS back on the PS4, and
Mhm.
now's the time to, I guess, upgrade.
Yep. But yeah, one of their big announcements was that the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima will
Yeah.
not be titled Ghost of Tsushima 2. Instead, it'll be titled Ghost of Yotai and
Yeah.
feature a new protagonist, Atsu.
Yeah, new protagonist, new location in Japan, which is
Mhm.
interesting. Basically, new storyline. I saw a lot of people making comparisons to Assassin's Creed, in the way that it's a franchise that allows them to kind of jump to different parts of history as opposed to focusing on just one thing. So, an interesting move, and I think a good move because it's a way to kind of not have to come up with more story beats for that story that you feel like you already told.
Yep. It's a good way, yeah, good way to just expand in the region and in the
Yeah.
lore.
Yeah.
And you don't have to stick to one specific time period too. I mean, you kind of do, but also like not like super specific time period.
And no
Uh,
surprise, it looks really pretty, which of course it does, because the Ghost of Tsushima also looked really pretty and looks like it's taking advantage of that PS5 Pro-ness of it all.
as it should. We also got an announcement of Monster Hunter Wilds with a release date,
Yes, release date
uh,
January.
February,
February, sorry, February.
February 28th. Because it's not a leap year. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have made that happen. But yeah, but that's also coming on the Xbox and PC the same day.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a wide release. We also had the Midnight Walk announced. It's a PSVR 2 game.
Yeah. Clay animation for that one.
Yep. A new trailer for Hell Is Us, which is a new horror game.
Yeah, horror character action kind of thing.
Yep. Talked about Palworld. Metro Awakening VR will be coming in on November 7th.
Yeah, the Metro series is back, I guess, in VR form.
Yep.
Sure.
We also got a new trailer for Archage Chronicles, which is another one of those Soul Likes games.
Yeah, Korean developer on that one.
So here quickly in beats here, we had remastered collection of Lunar Games for spring 2025.
Yep.
We had a DLC announcement for TMNT Shredder's Revenge, titled Radical Reptiles, which is out now if you own that game. They also announced Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered.
Yeah, between Legacy and Kane and the Lunar re-releases, I saw a lot of stuff that I remember looking at in video game magazines for in PlayStation 1 ads. It was like, oh yeah, I remember these games. I never played them because I didn't have a PlayStation, but I knew of them.
Yeah. There's also Hitman 3 VR: Reloaded coming this December.
Yeah, looks like they're going to specialize for PlayStation VR 2 some things you couldn't do in the VR mode previous to this, including some freeform dual wielding and some more specific actions. Hitman fans really like the game, so I'm sure that they'll find something to enjoy there.
Yeah. Let's see here. Before Keanu Reeves voices Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, he will lend his voice in the upcoming Sonic X Shadow Generations
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, we knew about this game, but we didn't know that there was going to be special, I guess, free DLC that links it to the movie, which is fun.
Yep. We got a date on that Lego Horizon Adventures, which will be November
Yeah.
14th.
As well as a very Lego trailer, a very funny kind of Lego movie-esque vibe, which I think works for that.
Mhm. We also got a new city building game called Towers of Agaspa.
Sure.
Agaspa,
Yeah,
I think is what they said.
let's go with that.
Uh, and Fear, the Spotlight,
Yeah.
which was a PS1 inspired horror game from Blumhouse. It's coming
Yeah.
October 22nd.
I want to say that was one of the things in that sizzle reel we saw Summer Games Fest for the Blumhouse games. I think that was one of them.
Yep. We also have Dynasty Warriors: Origins arriving in January. And we got the PlayStation Plus games for October announced.
Yep.
It's wrestling and Dead Space.
I mean, hey, you get to play that wrestling game for free. There you go.
I feel like I always get to play that for free every
Yeah.
year when it comes around for PS Plus.
Why spend money on it when you know you're just gonna get it for free?
I mean, it's the same thing with MLB The Show.
Yeah, the
I know
show.
it's always going to come in September.
Yeah, it's always on Game Pass. I'm always gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did announce something that I do plan on actually looking into, probably getting, which is the new PlayStation 5 Chroma collection. You get colors
Ooh,
on your PlayStation.
that's true.
Although you have to buy the whole PlayStation, not just the plates.
That's unfortunate, right? Like
Yes,
I feel like they should sell the plates too.
they should sell the plates. But they did come with the new controllers that you could buy, and those look pretty cool too.
Those look nice. I like the shiny green.
But the big announcement that they get saved is that we will be getting more Astrobot
Yeah.
DLC announced for this fall.
I mean, this was not news. We knew that we were getting DLC. Both we knew that there was going to be some new game themed Astrobots. We saw Stellar Blade is confirmed, as well as what was that other thing? Was that Helldivers?
I think so.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, with the mask. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we knew that, and we also knew about the speedrunning content. But the fact that we got to see some footage of it and that it's coming soon is very exciting. We'll talk
Yeah, it is.
probably a little bit more about where we're at with Astrobot in a second, but
Well, I mean that's the end of the state of play. So
yeah.
anything else on it?
No, that was you pretty much that recap kind of hit everything, I think.
Yeah. I think yeah, it all looks good. There's some good stuff coming, some
Yeah,
okay stuff coming
sure.
if you're into it. Overall, just a fine state of play.
Yeah, seems like par for the course for those things.
Yep. It's like if you in the Sony ecosystem, you liked it. Otherwise, it's like, oh, look at all the stuff I can't play.
But speaking of things we can play, that's a perfect time to talk about a little update on Astrobot. So as of this recording, we have both ran credits. We have finished the game. You went the
Yes.
extra mile and got the platinum. You did
Yeah, it did.
everything. How are you
Uh,
feeling about that game now that you finished it?
it wasn't that hard to platinum. Like I said, it took me about 13 hours
Yeah, that's about right.
roughly to do everything. I got most of the bots the first time through, only like
Sure.
a handful of times I had to do a second run through. I do really like that they have the bird there when you're doing your second run through, so you can like find everything and just chirps like, oh, something's over here that you missed.
That's my
That's
plan.
really nice.
That's what I'm gonna do.
The one thing that I took a lot of time, maybe an hour doing, was just grinding for coins
Yeah.
so I could pull everything. I hate that there's soda cans in
The
there
in
in
the
the
gotcha
gotcha machine.
machine. Yeah.
Yeah, the duds. It's like, oh, what is this doing here? Uh, but other than that, yeah, that's the one thing that like gave me a headache of actually trying to do.
Sure.
I really liked the final level.
Yeah, the final boss into the credit sequence is really fun.
Oh, well, yes, the final boss as well.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the final level after you collect all 300.
Oh, see, I obviously haven't done that yet,
Yes,
so
that's why I
I'll get
mentioned it as the
there.
final level. But yeah, I
But
did really enjoy that final boss because
yeah,
as you're going through it, it's a both a recap of all the characters that you
yeah,
purchased that you found, but also like all the like PlayStation consoles and all the generations and what this whole game has been, which is just an ode to PlayStation for the past 20 years, 30 years. Gotta say 30. It's 30 years.
yeah. Now that's actually a good point to bring up. We don't have time, unfortunately, to get into it. I really wanted to this week, but because of how much we have to talk about later, I don't
Yes.
know if we have time. But I really wanted to get your kind of temperature on that PlayStation nostalgia stuff because it's been topic du jour lately on the internet of people basically going back and forth. Does it mess with the game standing on its own, the fact that it's so much of a PlayStation homage? Or do you think that it's still strong enough by itself that if it didn't have all that PlayStation stuff, no one would like notice it was gone? Like,
I think if you took out the actual PlayStation stuff, what they should probably do for a sequel is
mm,
that they could do homages and knockoffs of other franchises and how they are brought into the PlayStation fold. Like go
mm.
beyond just the PlayStation IPs into other video games. Because
You're
the
just
that's the thing about the
describing
Astrobot
Fortnite
is that,
now.
huh?
You're just
Yeah, I mean,
describing
maybe.
Fortnite now.
Maybe. But that's the thing about the Astrobot is that while the Astrobot like character himself is very basic, and there's a lot of basic Astrobots out there, the fun characters and the winks and the nods to uh past PlayStation are what gives it that extra level. It's like
Yeah.
Mario. You don't go around Mario and collecting all the stars. I think Mario Galaxy. Like collect all the stars, they got their face on them. Like, hey, that's just another star. That's how you can think about it if you don't know what the character is. But if you do know what the character is, you're like, oh, it's this character, or it's dressed up like this character.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how
It's an
I
extra layer to it.
yeah, that's pretty much how I feel too. I think the game is strong enough where I think that stuff just fun icing on the cake. And also, my biggest argument to that kind of crowd is, yeah, but nobody complains about Super Smash Brothers. That's all Super Smash Brothers is
Mhm.
a character fighting game that you also have basically is also a Nintendo museum. Oh, and especially with Ultimate, which is basically a video game museum. It has so much stuff outside of Nintendo as well. And so yeah, like nobody said that when Ultimate came out. Nobody wrote a big like piece about like, oh, this is just nostalgia. Well, I do agree with some of the points where it's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't make it a game that's about nostalgia, but it's not. Astrobot's also a really fun platform game that just happens to also be a nostalgic ode to PlayStation's history. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, I don't think it eliminates it from being a classic. I think that that game is a modern classic now, and I think people will look back on it fondly.
Yeah, the I like the fact that like they all like come to your home base and you're able to
Yeah,
interact with them. Like I said, like if they were just generic or random characters, be like, oh, this one's just like an adventurer like styler, or this one is like just a dragon style, or this one is a fighter
right.
style, or this one is a like a clumsy style. Then that's fine. Like they all have their own personalities, and that's what they evoke them. The fact that you can slap a PlayStation IP skin on it is what gives it like the extra flavor.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, we'll talk more about Astrobot at the end of the year, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
Um,
I really want to hear, I'm very interested to see what the new game you played this week is like.
I played the new game because it was free for PlayStation Extra
You
members.
don't have to say that. You can just say that you played it.
Well, okay, I played it. The Plucky Squire, the new
Yeah.
release.
Yeah. Tell me
Rarely do
about
I
the
get to
Plucky
play a new
Squire.
release. Yeah. So this is a interesting game because it's both a 2D and a 3D game. It takes place within a storybook, hand drawn, very
Hmm.
reminiscent of Calvin and Hobbes vibes to it. Also very reminiscent of the a previous game that I played, Nobody versus the World.
Yes,
Same
yes.
kind of 2D art style, kind of fighting mechanic combat. But with the Plucky Squire, you're able to jump literally out of the page, break the fourth wall, and come into the 3D world where you are a character on the desk of the artist
Yeah,
as a kid. Like definitely gives a kid like feel to it. Uh, they say kid, it's very much like uh probably preteen
sure.
era,
Yeah.
especially with all like the different accoutrement, just stacks of like how huge this desk is, just like thinking about it. Just like this 3D environment. But one of the fun things that it also, and I don't think know if the trailers actually touch on this, is that it has a little bit of scribble knots thrown into it too, where you can go in, take words from the page, literally rip them off the page,
Yeah.
and place them into other words, creating new sentences.
Okay.
So there's a uh so one of like early examples is that is the on the ground it says there's a big grumpy toad blocking your way. So you have to go or find around in the storybook like where it says, oh, the word like tiny or small or flat. Or and there's different ways and combinations that you can way to get around it too. Not all words can be rearranged, slightly disappointed in, but also like when you put a word and it fits, it actually does something in the world. Like like this this broken gate is blocking your way. But you take out broken and you put
Mhm.
in big. It says this big gate is blocking your way. And it
Yeah.
actually like changes it. Or like this singing gate is blocking your way. All of a sudden it says start singing. It's little like fun stuff like that that you can like mix and match in. It definitely takes a lot of inspiration from generic adventure games. You are a squire. You have a mage best friend. You have a troll best friend. The three of you are a companion piece going around and like stopping the bad guy. There's a lot of like these like generic tropes in there, but I think that's okay because it's supposed to be written from the perspective of like a preteen,
Yeah, yeah,
a
exactly.
kid. So it doesn't have to be too. Like, I think that's part of like the setup is that that for me it doesn't have to be too over the top, too granular. You can have very basic rudimentary fundamentals
Yeah.
because the game sets it up as inspired by basic rudimentary fundamentals of a story.
So does that keep it from being too challenging? Did you still have fun with it despite its simplicity?
It's fun in the puzzles. It's
Huh.
also fun in the mini games. You do have the option to skip the mini games. You do have the option to just play in story mode and like bypass most of the challenging stuff and just make it a puzzle-based game, which I found well, not playing on that, I can find that like very fun and relaxing too. It's I'm having fun with it.
Okay.
I'll kind of see where it goes, like how it like continues. You can upgrade your stuff as well, like your attacks, but so far nothing too challenging
Yeah.
for it.
I mentioned that because it seems like people pointed out how tutorialized it is. And people kind of are really saying like that's a really make it or break it for a lot of people. If you're coming for like from like, oh, I'm like a Dark Souls guy and like I don't want a game to hold my hand. I'm gonna come in and try to get challenged. It seems like this is actively not that at all.
Oh no, this game definitely holds your hand.
Right.
Within the first two chapters, it kind of repeats information that you just previously learned,
Hmm.
and it's like, yeah, okay, but that makes sense because it also sets up that this is from a child's perspective. You're running
Yeah.
around a child's desk area. Like it's not trying to be over the top, gotcha, here's your hidden twist, uh like like you kind of like expect from these AAA like mature
Yeah.
games. It's not trying to be a mature game. It doesn't want to be a mature game. It wants to be a fun adventure where
Right.
the gimmick is you jump in and out of a storybook. and you're able to move words around and solve the
Yeah.
puzzles.
And to be clear, like I'm definitely on board with something that tutorializes because I am a little bewildered when a game just tosses me in and doesn't explain much. So like that is definitely like something that I would really appreciate from a game.
Mhm.
So but it is nice that we have such a broad range of experiences in games, right? Like I like that there's games like this and also games like Dark Souls that just like bewilder you. I think there's room for both, and I don't think there's a right way of doing it. And like, yeah, so ultimately, I guess the question then is, do you think for what this game is, do you think that that's appropriate? Like, do you think that like the kind of story it's telling and the kind of vibe it's doing, it doesn't want you to be too confused.
No, it's not. And the animation definitely shows cases in that too. The
Mhm.
characters are drawn very basic in basic shapes and basic color palettes, so you can easily identify. It's not
Right.
meant to baby you along the way, but like I said, because of the setting for it, it's not going to be overly complicated because of the point of view where it's coming from.
Yeah, that makes sense. But cool. So you're gonna keep chugging along and see how that treats you going forward.
Yeah, until the DLC for Astrobot drops.
Until your PlayStation is playing something else. I get
Yes, it is.
it.
All right. Did you play anything?
Nothing besides more Astrobot, like I said. But then all well, actually, except for I jumped back into the show a little bit. So it's funny that you brought it up earlier. I tried to batting again, and I still can't do it on any level above beginner. Like you put it on veteran, those balls are just too fast for me. I literally cannot get the timing right. I was just in practice mode, I swear, for 20 straight minutes trying to find the sweet spot on veteran pitching. And I was just like whiffing, 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 foul, whiff, foul. I was just like, this is insane. How do people get good at this? I'm trying to like figure out the timing. I can't figure out the timing at all.
That's because in baseball, you only have to hit the ball into play 3 out of 10 times to be considered good.
Yes, I realize that. However, if I can't even tell balls and strikes, I'm going to strike out every single
Every
at
single
bat,
time.
and that means I cannot win online. Because that's the
Yep.
thing is I took a peek into Diamond Dynasty mode. Like I was like, oh, I could try this, and I like the accoutrement, I like the card collecting stuff, but you can't have any difficulty help because it switches to competitive mode and all of the batting stuff is turned off, everything's turned off. And so it puts me into this situation where like, oh, I'm immediately going to lose.
You
I
need
just
some tape on your TV to like, here's where the reticles are. Here's where the inside out is.
yeah. So instead, I went to franchise and back to franchise mode. You can do player lock. And so I lock to the pitcher, the opening pitcher every game. That's fun because I can play the pitcher on veteran. I cannot play a batter on veteran.
Yeah, it's like me doing Madden right now, where I will do franchise mode
Yeah.
and I'll just do offense only. Give
Yeah.
me the ball. Let me score. I
Let me
don't
do
want
the
to play defense.
fun thing, not the thing that I hate. Which I'm
Yes.
glad that sports games allow that. It's just that I wish there was a competitive mode because I would love to get into competitive that let me just pitch, but
Mhm.
that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, speaking of sports games, let's get right
Yes,
into television with sports.
indeed.
And we're going to start with NASCAR playoffs, where the first 4 drivers has been eliminated.
Hi.
Keselowski, Burton, Gibbs, and Truex Jr. Not your time. Bye-bye. 3 more races until the next 4 drivers are eliminated. And driver that we're keeping a watch on, Austin Cindric, on the bubble currently. As for the WNBA, as we mentioned, they're currently in the playoffs, but they did give away some regular season honors. The big awards went to Aja Wilson for MVP of the league and Caitlin Clark for Rookie of the Year.
Duh.
Both of those awards, unanimous votes.
Yeah.
So, congratulations on your new hardware. Let's get into other news, starting with the NFL. We are currently rolling through it. 5 teams remain unbeaten: the Bills, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Seahawks.
Just saying, I
Meanwhile,
did fairly well. Week 3, I did okay, did better than you did.
oh, on your pick'ems, yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
pick'em.
Well, I'll
Not
tell
so
you why you
much.
did better because there's still three teams looking for the first win, which I
Yeah,
keep saying should win games, including the Jaguars, the
right.
Titans, and the Joe Burrow Bungles.
Yeah, they're real
Bengals.
bungling it.
Yeah, they're bungling it all right. But the Bengals may or may not be able to get a win this week because they go up against the Carolina Panthers, who have been notoriously bad, but they have a new quarterback. Andy Aguilera is there behind center, and it's a revenge game as Andy Dalton goes back to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals.
Well, don't get your hopes up, is what I will say.
Oh, my hopes are sky high. It's a revenge game. He's going to decimate them.
We'll see.
All right. Uh, but yeah, let's get into act to playoffs mode.
Yes.
As MLB, we have teams that are officially playoff bound officially.
Yes, we have some clinches that
Yes,
happened.
including the New York Yankees, the Cleveland Guardians, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Los Angeles Dodgers have all clinched playoff berths.
And those are all names we more or less expected at the beginning of the season. I think the
Yep.
Yankees looked like they might not make it. They pulled it together in the end. The Phillies, we knew that they were going to get a playoff spot, but we didn't have the confirmation about the top spot till yesterday. It was exciting. I actually watched that game. That was at the end of that game. That was really fun to watch. Um, and yeah, other than that, pretty much everybody here, it makes sense to see, especially the Otani Dodgers, which were born for this to happen.
Yes, because Otani created a new club
Yeah.
of one membership, the
Yes.
50-50 club. Well, I guess that's the 52-52 club,
It's actually the 53-53 club,
53-53
believe,
club,
by
and he did
now.
it again.
It just keeps going, honestly. It's just going to keep
Yes.
going up.
He has 53 home runs and 53 stolen
I
bases
don't
in
know
a
actually if he has
season.
the 53 stolen bases, so maybe hold off on that, but I know he has the 53 homers by this point.
Yeah, but I know he has 52-52, so
He'll
I'm sure he'll get 53.
get
But
there.
yeah,
He'll get there.
it continues to just dominate on offense.
Yeah, there's no player like him right now. I mean, yes, does Aaron Judge have 2 more homers at the moment? Yes, but
Technically.
Aaron Judge does not have that many stolen bases. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's only two more home runs. There's 6 games left.
Exactly. There's still chance.
Season does end this upcoming Sunday, but for other teams, the season ended a long time ago.
Yeah.
The Chicago White Sox officially reached 120 losses
They did it.
and counting,
Yes. There's still room for them to set the all-time Major League Baseball record. So we'll
especially
see.
because they're playing the Angels right now.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question because the Angels also have been mathematically kicked out of the
Eliminated.
playoff picture.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's put this way. Both teams cannot lose the game. At least I'm pretty sure both teams cannot lose the game.
yeah, well, they'll find a
Uh,
way.
they might find a way. Just like the Miami Marlins found a
Yes.
way to reach 100 losses.
Yes. Bad
And
year
then
for
the
Fish,
Colorado Rockies. They're currently at 96 losses,
but they could get there.
but like I said, there's 6 games left. They could get there.
They just need fictional pitcher Natalie Johnson to go and join their ranks.
Yes, but hey,
So
at least
they
the
mean nothing to
Los
people
Angeles
who didn't
Angels
listen back
cannot
in
reach
March.
100 losses.
Yeah, it could happen. But yeah, I'm very excited for the playoffs. I really want to see these playoff teams. I especially want to see how the Dodgers do. I want to see if that team is legit or if they just are regular season legit, which is a problem that the Dodgers have a lot.
Yep,
We'll see.
we'll see. Yep. And then in anything else before baseball ends here?
That's pretty much the deal right now is we pretty much have the idea that the playoff picture. There's some teams that I
Mhm.
think people expected to see that aren't in this picture, like the Atlanta Braves, who I think might still have a wild card shot. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But besides that, these kind of are who we expected.
Let me just look at the standings real quick because I believe everyone is like pretty much locked in. I don't think
More or
there's like a
less.
couple wild cards.
There's actually so the AL
Seattle
West is an interesting one because there's the Mariners and the Astros are
technically have not
close.
locked.
They
Yeah.
have not because the Mariners are still 4 games out, I believe, not counting today's games if they have already been taking place. But yeah, so there's a possibility that the Mariners, if they go on a streak and the Astros don't, they could take the West. But seeing as the Astros usually don't go like aren't that streaky, I don't know if that could happen.
Yeah, they're Seattle's four
Four
games
games.
back from
4 games
Houston,
back.
and they technically have to win the West in order
They do.
to make the because they can't win wild card.
No,
I mean, they'd have to get like tie the Astros just to get wild card.
which is more likely, but but neither is very likely because the
Right,
Astros
because yeah,
are a good team, generally speaking, and they can probably clinch it.
yeah, because they have to, Baltimore is going to clinch the wild card at 86 wins. Astros, yeah, I mean Seattle could, but then Detroit and Kansas City are right there at 83 and
And
82
the
wins.
Tigers are getting hot, so I could see Detroit in that spot.
Yep.
So we'll see. But yeah, exciting times in baseball. Playoffs are almost here. I'm thrilled to get into some playoff baseball.
Yes, we are. And we are also thrilled to say goodbye to Oakland.
Well, are we? I actually that's kind of a bummer, right? Because like the A's will exist, they just won't be called the Oakland A's. And yeah, that stadium just is done after this week, right? Like
Yep. This is the
it's
last
done.
week.
So sad.
After this week, they play their games in Sacramento for
Yeah.
4 to 5 years,
Yeah.
and then they go to Vegas,
So RIP.
where they may or may not
The
still be called the Athletics.
well, yeah, that's less clear. We know that they will be as long as they're in Sacramento. They'll just be
Yes.
the Athletics. No association to location, which will be weird.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyways, yeah, that's baseball.
that's baseball.
That is baseball. And just last bit of college news, wrapping it up here for sports. Texas. Yes, those Longhorn Texas are your number one ranked team in the AP poll, led none other than Arch Manning himself.
Seems
Because
rigged.
Quentin Ewers, Mr. NIL himself, has been injured the past 2 games and is kind of questionable coming back as they start their SEC run.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arch Manning, he's here. Let the dynasty commence.
Yep. It looks like Destiny had its hand in this one because yeah, he's gonna take the starring role faster than I think we anticipated he would.
I mean, he's leading them downfield. He's winning
Yeah.
games.
Well, there you go.
They're not going to
Little
want to
Arch.
pull him, especially if you have that last name.
Yeah. All right.
All
Anything else
right.
in sports before we move on?
Nope, we got to move on.
All right, let's go into television, where our television news starts with the return of a favorite. In fact, the 50th time this favorite has returned. Saturday Night Live will enjoy its
And I do
50th
believe this is the 10th
anniversary.
time we are talking about
Yes,
SNL opening seasons.
because yeah, I want to say that first year we probably covered the 40th anniversary special.
Yes, we did.
Oh God, time. But yeah, season 50 will be kicking off this Saturday with Emmy winner Gene Smart as the host and musical guest Jelly Roll, who will, yes, as you mentioned, will headline Stagecoach as well this year. Gene Smart is just one big name performer who will be leading this historical season. Nate Bargatze, Ariana Grande, Michael Keaton, and John Mulaney will host in the coming weeks. They will be accompanied by musical guests Coldplay, Stevie Nicks, Billie Eilish, and Chapel Roan, respectively. That John Mulaney Chapel Roan one is going to be insane.
That will also be the last one before the election.
Right. That first batch of hosts run through November 2nd before the general election on November 5th. The new season also will add 3 new cast members after the departure of Chloe Trost, Punky Johnson, and Molly Kearney. The new cast members will be Ashley Padilla, or Padilla, possibly, who was
Padilla.
a member of the Groundlings, Enil Wakim, who is a guest known for a TikTok channel called Staple View, and Jane Wickline, who was a part of the New Face of Comedy 2022 festival. They've all joined as featured players for their respective first season of SNL. I'm sad to see Chloe Trost and Punky Johnson leave. I liked them, especially Chloe Trost. They would always bring in Chloe for the song-based sketches, and I think that was really strong to always have like, let's do a musical sketch. And yes, Chloe Trost is in this one. I will miss that because
Well,
I think
John
she did a
Mulaney
good job.
cannot host every week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't drag him out. So I am curious. I always come into SNL's seasons curious and always get disappointed, especially because yet again, as much as they keep saying that it's not going to be the case, it is still Colin Jost and Michael Che doing update, and I am so over them.
Oh shoot, that reminds me. While they are doing update, they're technically not the new head writers this season.
No, they're not.
And
They got replaced last year too, right? Though this is the second season since they've been
is it the
replaced.
second season? I thought this was
Yeah, I
the
want to
first
say that
season
happened
since.
last time,
Okay.
and it didn't really make much of a difference
Yeah,
to
that
me.
might be why I didn't see any news of it.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll
All right.
see. We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know.
All right. But I'll be tuning in. It's the first season. It's the 50th
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
They're
We'll check
gonna
it
make
out.
some. I expect a lot of like callbacks and coming back to it. Kamala
Yeah, I was
Harris
gonna
will
say,
be
how
played
soon do we say Maya Rudolph,
as Maya Rudolph.
Kamala? Like first one, first episode? Like they have to,
Yeah,
right?
first one, 50th
Yeah.
season, kick it off. Yeah.
Cold open, just cold open. It's her face right there. Yeah, they do it.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, thoughts. We have some thoughts of some television that we watched. Let's start with the one that we both watched because, yes, believe it or not, I checked out that first two episode premiere of Agatha All Along on Disney Plus. So let's talk about it. How did you feel?
Uh Considering this was supposed to be Agatha Coven of Chaos, and then Agatha Coven, and then Agatha Darkness Road, Dark Road, uh all along the Watchtower. It's finally settled on a name, Agatha All Along, based off the song from WandaVision. I did enjoy the first episode as a callback to WandaVision, where it had all the different players and actors from there like showing up. And then definitely that second premiere or that second episode because it got the show going into what it wanted to do. And it
Yeah,
took them out of Westview and onto the Witch's Road, which is where the show wants to be.
it's interesting because yeah, it does give, like you said, kind of two different versions of what the show could have been. I think it would have been interesting if they did like, hey, what about if we did WandaVision, but instead of sitcoms, we did dramas?
Yeah.
And I thought that that's what that was going to be for a second, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then it's not that in the second episode. It's like actually no crazy premise. We're just gonna get this plot going.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of excited for the drama portion of it. Like, oh, they're going to switch it up every time. Like,
But no,
this is really good. And then, nope. They want the
not what they're
witches.
gonna do. It's fine.
I not seeing Aubrey Plaza in the second episode made me wonder, like, oh, where'd she go? What's she gonna do about this? But
She'll
they
come
do
back.
leave a lot. I know, but they do leave a lot of mystery boxes to unfold over the course of the season.
Yeah.
Interesting to see where it goes, how long they're gonna stay down this witch's road path. Because I don't see them staying on it for the
Yeah.
entire season.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with it is like it has yet to really grab me because I want to see what they do with this premise because I think they have a bunch of interesting characters. I do want to see Aubrey Plaza come back because I think the best moments of that first episode are when the two of them are interacting. I like Catherine Hahn, and I think Catherine Hahn might be strong enough for me to keep watching it to see where it goes. But if this third episode doesn't deliver, I don't know if I'm gonna stay.
Yeah, because it has three boxes that they need to answer.
Yeah.
One, what's at the end of the witch's road?
Hmm.
Two, what's Aubrey Plaza's deal?
Yeah.
And three, what's that new kid's deal?
Yeah, I don't love him so far, but we'll
I don't think
see.
you're supposed to love him. I think he's going to
Yeah.
be the villain in this. He definitely has the villain
Hmm.
eyebrows for it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You didn't watch Heartstopper,
No, I
which
did
is
not.
where I saw him in. So yeah, but anyway, he's not a villain in that show. Well, anyway, let's move on. But yeah, that's Agatha all along. We'll I guess see where that goes. But you also
Yep.
watched two other shows. Tell me about the newest attempt to get what's her name from Always Sunny, her own vehicle, High Potential.
Uh, yeah, it's someone took uh Will Trent, it's also on ABC,
Yeah.
and said, "Yeah, let's do that, but make it in LA." And yeah, what's her name?
Shit. Why can't we think of her name?
Caitlin. It's Caitlin, right? Not
Hold
Caitlin
on.
Clark.
Right.
Olsen. Caitlin
No.
Olsen.
Is
Yes, I
it? Is that her name?
think it's Caitlin Olsen.
Oh, weird. Anyway. Yes, you're correct. All right. Yes, Caitlin Olsen.
Yes.
What was the last one? The Mick on Fox,
The
right?
Mick on Fox,
Yeah.
yes. And then she's also the daughter on Hacks.
Right, right. She is on Hacks. You're right. So, does it work? What's up with High Potential?
Uh, for me, this doesn't quite work because so she's premise is that she was a cleaning lady for the LAPD. During cleaning, one night she knocks over boxes and then uh tries to fix the murder suspect board because she sees an error and
Huh.
what's wrong. And then she gets brought on as a consultant to the detectives in order to help solve the case. I get what they're going for. I get the kind of like dramatic comedic take they want from this.
Hmm.
My issue with it is that the character is smarter than both the players and the audience
Uh-huh.
because it's not like, say, Good Doctor, also on ABC, where you like you see like your main character has like all this like encyclopedic knowledge of it of
Hmm.
medical history and helps to solve the surgery or solve the issue of the week. Here, it is both an encyclopedic knowledge, but it's taken to such an extreme degree that you go, okay, how are you supposed to know that? And how am I supposed to catch on to that you know that?
Right. There's the show didn't do the legwork to say this is why she has all this knowledge. They just expect you to just that believe that
Oh
she
no,
can
they
do it.
hand wave it saying that she has a very
Yeah.
high IQ, a photographic memory, but that
Sure.
she also gets bored and has a need to solve stuff.
Right. And now she's not a well, wait, is she an ex-cop? Is this a monk situation?
They did not say she was an ex-cop. At least they have not
Okay.
said that she's an ex-cop.
I
They have
assumed
not
she was.
explained. They have not
Yeah.
explained why she was working as a janitor for the NYPD. They did not
Okay.
explain like why she's in LA. The only thing they vaguely explain is that she has three kids, which because they're kids, I don't know how involved they're going to be in the
Right.
day-to-day life of the episodes. But also that her husband or first husband, the oldest child's dad, mysteriously disappeared 14 years ago, and it's gotten a cold case, and she doesn't know what happened. And part of the deal of working with the LAPD is that they need to help her solve this case. Season long approach.
I guess so far this just sounds like a worse monk. Like just
It
watch
is.
Monk.
Yes. Yes. Monk's
Okay.
better. Monk is
Yeah,
funnier.
turns out. All right.
I don't it's
Not
not
a
that I
great premiere.
hate the characters, it's that
Sure.
I hate the situation that they put the characters in.
Yeah.
I like the actors in here.
Sure.
I like what they've done individually in previous stuff. I think together they have good chemistry. I just think the writing suffers hard here because they need to make her solve the case that these detectives who have worked on as detective for years, who have taken detective tests, who know what it
Right.
is to like examine a crime scene, are now all of a sudden, same problem I had with Will Trent, missing these clues that this other person is seeing and picking up. But
Yeah.
we as the audience are supposed to either be along for the ride or help solve the mystery like in the meantime. And
Yeah.
it's not picking a lane.
It's a tricky line to walk, right? Which is you have to make the protagonist seem super smart, but you also can't But at the same time, you can't also make everybody else seem dumber than they should be. And that's what's happening, it seems. It's distracting how dumb these people are.
Right, but that's what I like about the good doctor is that while he is smart and at times smarter than everyone else in the room, at least watching it, these are all doctors. These are all smart ass people in this room.
Right,
They all
right,
went to school. They all like graduated. They are all like, I know that whatever medical jargon they speak, I'm not going to get.
right.
But with here, anytime she mentions something, like, oh, huh, that is kind of fun, interesting. It's not like Weekend. I was like, oh, that is interesting. I never thought about that. But also, like, oh, well, you never thought about that, but that does happen. That does exist. So you should know it. It doesn't ever gets to that level of, well, I'm saying all this because you don't know it as an audience.
Right. Hmm. Well,
And yeah, I might give it a couple more episodes, see if it how stretches itself out. But yeah, that
sure.
pilot is just, well,
Yeah.
heavily exposition, just not fun to watch.
Not working out yet. But what about food? Food
Oh,
shows
I
are
love food.
good.
I
What
love food.
about
I'm gonna go eat in like 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here.
what about Culinary Class Wars, though?
All right.
First, about this name, before you tell me the premise of the show, I have a question. Is
The
it
answer's probably yes, but go ahead.
is it Culinary Class Wars, like there are wars that take place in culinary class? Or is it Culinary Class Wars, where they're wars based on class, like rich, poor, that happen to be fought with food?
Number two.
What? I was expecting number one, but okay.
Yeah, I know you're expecting number one, but it's these culinary class wars where there are 80 up and coming unknown chefs. Some run the restaurant, some run YouTube channels, some are just foodies, some like no learned how to cook from comic books. Then there are 20 elite chefs, the high class chefs,
Ah,
the white coats, if you will, the Michelin star, the
sure.
well-known like on magazines in names published chefs
Like the
competing
bear.
in this. Kind of, yeah. Basically, this is one of my favorite animes come to life.
Yeah.
It's Food Wars.
Uh,
It's goddamn Food Wars. And the way they, well, one, it's a Korean competition. So you get the 80 uh, black jackets and the shirts versus the white 80 or the first 20 white chefs. Combine that. It's basically physical 100, but with cooking.
wow. Wow. Really crosses your boxes.
It
Like,
does.
this is for you.
This is definitely made for me. It's and they cook and they like compete against each other and there's stories involved in everyone and the way they shoot it all and like have everyone explain it and like the judging everything makes it feel like I'm watching Food Wars the anime because
Yeah.
they use this exact same premise as like part of like season one and into season two. It's like, oh, I'm making this connection here. I'm very invested in the show. I love what I'm seeing here. Give me more of this stuff. So yeah, so now they're doing like a team competition, and it's like, oh, have to now they have to serve 100 guests. And so
Oh,
it combines like both like individual cook experience or chef experience with a general cook experience, working in a team, feeding 100 people, and they all to be exactly the same, given the exact same flavor profile to
yeah.
all these 100 people who are going to have different flavor profiles. They have to like say this one's better than this one, this is better than this one. It's really intense and gripping watch. And I love it because, like I said, coming from Physical 100, where it's basically more or less the kind of the same thing, competition. You like competition, but this also has food, and it's like high class food. And like you have these Michelin star chefs going up against these literal unknown chefs that they literally don't have a name because they for the other 80 chefs, they
Yeah.
never give out their name. They tell them to, what is your nickname? What do you want to be known by? What do you want to be known as? So while you have the high profile chefs where they use their actual names, all the other black jacket 80 chefs are unknown names. They use names like the goddess of Chinese food, the comic book food guy.
Yeah.
That's literally his name because he takes pages from comic books and makes them into his dishes.
Yeah.
Like there's one guy called 3 star or 1, 2, 3. He's worked at 1, 2, 3 Michelin star restaurants, but he doesn't have a name yet. So it's really, really cool. It helps like keep you engaged and like not get lost over like, oh, I don't know who any of these people are. It's like, oh, that person is this person because that's what they want to be known as. And that
Yeah.
person is this person. That's what they want to be known as. So it's really cool what they do with it. And it is class wars because it is black versus white or black versus white students, black jackets versus white jackets.
Right.
And that we're down to 22 people now.
Okay.
It's I mean, they're still going on. There's still more episodes into it, but
Yeah.
really high intensity, really interesting flavors. I really like what they're doing here, and I want more of this.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Like I said, right up my alley.
Yeah, seriously. Speaking of competition shows, just want to touch on The Circle Keeps Circling.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so we're waiting for 4 more episodes to drop this week, and then the finale will be after that.
Yep.
I want to update my opinion. I no longer think this is the most entertaining season because some really stupid illumination happened. My favorite person got kicked out, and now I barely want to watch it anymore because I'm like,
Yeah.
the one person that I enjoyed and was on her side got stabbed in the
In the
back.
back. Always happens.
So I was pissed, and I'm still not over it. And
That's
everybody else
okay.
sucks.
That's okay. Our favorite show from last summer is coming back tomorrow. Le Floor.
Oh boy, the floor.
I'm ready to yell at my TV again as the floor
It's fine.
occurs.
We also have here in our household, we also have a favorite returning. Great British Bake Off is
Yeah, it
back
is.
next week. And so yeah, I'll talk about more next week. But we have
Yes.
to move on. So let's go into cancellations and renewals.
What am I no longer watching?
You're no longer watching Orphan Black: Echoes, which has been canceled after 1 season on AMC. Sorry, Orphan Black people. Uh, sorry, Orphan Black fans. Probably better thing to say there. I kept thinking that also when you were talking about white versus black coats, because I was
Yes.
like, make sure you say the noun
Coats.
there.
Yes.
You get the wrong impression. Pretty Little Liars, the Max reincarnation of the show, canceled after 2 seasons. So no more Pretty Little Liars of any form. Then HBO on the renewal side is bringing back Industry for a 4th season.
Looks like I brought back one.
Sure. Yeah, why not? All
Yep.
right, let's move into the final segment of the show, which is movies. And we always start the movie section with the weekend box office numbers. Your number one movie is still Beetlejuice with another $25 million. That's a solid hit. $226 million. And we're not even into October yet, where it could experience even more. We'll see.
Yep.
But yeah, not bad performance for that movie.
I'm just checking my numbers here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like 26 million because at number 2 was a 24.1 million.
Yeah. So close one.
So not even a close one. Not even
Yeah.
close.
Not even close. But number 2, Transformers 1 in its debut made 24 million, as you just said. Yeah, obviously not the kind of franchise it used to be.
I think they put more in the star power of the voices and not
Yeah.
on the screen.
Also,
this is probably confusing people because it's not really live
yeah,
action. It's all CG.
that and also no marketing. I saw one billboard and nothing else. Not a single commercial, like nothing, like no pre-roll streaming, no like TikTok ads, nothing. Like I'm shocked. I don't know where it was. They dropped the
Yeah.
ball on it. Coming in at number 3, Speak No Evil with another $5.7 million. That's at 21 domestic. Number 4, Never Let Go, in a $4.4 million debut. So not stellar for that either. And rounding out your top 5, Deadpool and Wolverine still making money, 3.8 million. That's at 627. Whew. Money making.
I'll fund the next 2 Marvel projects.
Right. In theaters this week, though, one for the film heads and one for the kids. We have finally Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis in theaters. I have seen people talking already about the audience participation or like interactive element version of the IMAX showing. You have to specifically buy a specific kind of IMAX ticket to get the version where there is an interactive element. Just FYI for everybody out there who cares about that.
Yes, I do.
Well, I'm glad I was able to tell you. Make sure you get the one that says that, because otherwise you won't get that. Although, from what I heard, it's only like 10 seconds long. So
Well, yeah,
who
it's not going
knows,
to be
man?
like a significant portion of it.
Right. It's not a midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
No, that thing is all interactive.
Yeah. Then also in theaters this week, The Wild Robot, based on the children's book and directed and written by Chris Sanders. Yes, of Lilo and Stitch and
How to
How to
Train Your
Train Your
Dragon.
Dragon fame. And this is his new film. This is DreamWorks and it is out this week.
Yep.
Good vibes on that one. We'll see how it does.
So, I will try and see one or both of these this
Okay.
upcoming weekend.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe Christy wants to see the Wild Robot, Alaska, if she wants to actually go to a theater this weekend.
Yeah,
Maybe. All
maybe.
right. Let's move into movie news. And we have a little update over one of the Disney hotshots, Jennifer Lee. Currently, Disney Animation's chief creative officer and of course an Oscar winner for Frozen is reshifting her focus back to filmmaking, stepping out of her role as the studio's CCO to focus fully on writing and directing Frozen 3 and Frozen 4, sequels to the movie that won her that Oscar. Jared
Frozen 2.
Bush, yep, no, Frozen 1.
I know. I know.
Jared Bush, who won an Academy Award for Encanto and is one of the writers and executive producers for Moana 2, has been named the studio's CCO as her replacement. Bush was an executive producer of Raya and the Last Dragon, also, and co-director slash co-writer on Oscar-winning Zootopia, and won an Emmy recently for the Disney Plus series Zootopia Plus. His upcoming schedule includes writer slash executive producer on Moana 2 and writing directing Zootopia 2, set to release next fall. Quote, I am so grateful to Bob and Alan, no last names, but I'm guessing Bob Iger, for
Yes.
supporting my decision to return to filmmaking full time, said Jennifer Lee. I've always believed in Jared's incredible talent and can't wait to see, with his passion and dedication to animation, what he brings to the CCO role. This makes sense as a move for Jennifer Lee. I feel like she was always more of a creative as opposed to an exec. So putting her back in a creative role, especially on the franchise that she essentially birthed, is good. I think that's a good move on Disney's part.
I think this is a money move on
Maybe,
Disney's part
maybe.
because seeing the receipts that Frozen 1 and Frozen 2 had,
Yeah.
both combined making $3 billion at the box office, Disney is looking to Jennifer Lee and say, we need more of that.
Do it
We need
again.
$1 billion. And if you can't do that as CCO, we want you full time dedicated to Frozen 3 and Frozen 4. We need this money.
Yeah.
So that's what it reads to me.
I think, yeah, they're really hoping that those things are smash hits. But hey, they got Frozen in the name. How can they not be smash hits? Well, I guess we'll check back in a year or so. We'll see.
Yes.
All
Because there are
right.
people out there who don't know that Frozen 4 is happening and be super surprised and super pissed when Frozen 3 ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? That's it? How are they going to wrap this all up? What do you mean there's a Frozen 4? I
Right.
didn't know that.
They're gonna pull a wicked on us all.
No, they're going to pull Spider-Man across the
Yeah,
Spider-Verse
that too.
on us all.
All right. So that's it for news.
Or
I
beyond the
do,
Spider-Verse. Across them beyond.
yeah,
Yeah.
across to beyond. Yeah. That's it for TV news or movie news. Sorry.
Movie
I did
news.
watch a couple of movies. I almost don't want to talk about them too much before you see them. I would like to get your opinions.
All
They're
right.
both on streaming,
Okay.
and
I
I
will
will,
see Sexy
yeah,
Tennis.
yes. I think you should watch both of these though,
Okay. What
because
real quick?
believe it
What
or
is
not,
I saw the TV glow?
yeah, because believe it or not, I think you were like both of these for two different reasons. I think they're both you movies, but again, for wildly different reasons. Real brief. First, yes, I saw the TV Glow, which is on Max, I believe
You're
now.
both on Max.
No, so I saw the TV Glow's Max Challenger's Amazon Prime Video.
Oh, okay.
Just FYI. But yeah, I saw the TV Glow in case you don't know what it is. I went into it and only kind of knowing what it was. I knew it was kind of horror adjacent, and I knew that it was a metaphor of sorts for the director and writer's journey of gender discovery. The writer director is trans, but that's all I knew. That's all I knew going into it. It is not what I thought it was going to be. It is a trip. It reminded me a lot of Get Out. It is very Jordan Peele and how it's set up because it's very much like what if real scenario, but there's some magical realism happening on the edges and what is real, what's not. Are these characters to be believed? There's a bit of a horror element as the character kind of goes into a journey of sorts, both psychological and, like I said, quote unquote real. I don't want to say anymore because I don't want to spoil too much, but it is an adventure. This thing is goes some places and it ends in a really wild way that has had me thinking about it ever since. As for the kind of gender feels element of it, I think that is very much, your own mileage may vary. But for anybody who's in the queer community, and I think they will see a very familiar story being told here and elements of it at least. And I think that'll add an extra layer of enjoyment for that audience as well. So yeah, big fan. I really liked it. I'm still thinking about it. It may not be my favorite movie of the year, but it's definitely probably going to be in my top five. It's a very impressive piece of directing, and yeah, just a unique film, like nothing else, like besides like a little bit of Jordan Peele stuff, but like beyond that, does establish a tone that is very much itself. I recommend it wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Also recommend wholeheartedly, and yes, you absolutely need to see this movie. Is Challengers. We talked, everybody was talking about it back in April, and now I get why. It is wild. It is so much more than just the movie about a tennis threesome, which is what it can be reduced to. It is
Yes.
also that. I don't want to say it's not that, but it is very interesting with how it is a sports movie, but also this interesting character piece about these three very different people who are intertwined and attached throughout the entire 2 hour runtime. And the intimate scenes of character stuff are shot almost with the same dynamism and energy as the tennis scenes. That sounds crazy, but it's true. And of course, everybody already gushed about the Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross soundtrack, but it is the fourth star of this movie. It is that good and that memorable. You'll be coming out of it thinking about like, oh wow, that score, I gotta put this on while I'm doing a workout or something. It's like energetic, it gets you going. And yeah, the tennis scenes are that good. Like
All right.
you will some of the shots and the composition and the cinematography, some of the choices they make with what the camera does, especially in the tennis sequences, is incredible. And it also ends in a fist pumping, audience pleasing, like crazy way that you just have to see. So watch this movie. Like just take 2 hours of your day, just watch this.
Oh yes, I'll find 2 hours of my day to watch this.
They're both very good. Instead of streaming then a day, instead of playing football, just put on challengers. I think you'll have a good time with it.
All right. Uh, one thing out also on streaming, I think you would find fascinating. Documentary
Hmm.
called Will and Harper, a
Hmm.
road trip for
Oh, it's that
featuring
Will
two
Ferrell thing.
SNL. Will
Yes.
Ferrell. No,
Yes.
Will Ferrell?
Yes, that's
Will
Will Ferrell.
Forte.
No, Will Ferrell, not
Oh,
Will
Will
Ferrell
Ferrell.
Forte. It's Will Ferrell.
Yes. Yeah. SNL
Yes.
alums on a road trip of sorts.
Yes. Yes.
That's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's specifically mostly about the because yeah, it's a writer from SNL that Will worked with that came out as trans and is about their road trip and their friendship.
Hmm.
Which yeah,
Yeah.
I did hear
Uh,
about this. I did want to see it.
yep, that's out. That's on my radar to watch as well.
Yeah.
And
But
with
these two
that,
movies, I'm telling you, y this is required homework, not just like stat put it on the stack homework, because I will be bringing these back up at the end of the year, guaranteed.
okay,
So you have to
I
see
will have
these.
some time. I will
Yes.
have some time.
Mhm. Okay,
All right.
good.
Let's
All right.
okay, let's wrap it up then.
Let's wrap it up. That was the Media Boat Podcast for this week. We'll be back next week for another episode. But in the meantime, if you want to see us in video form, you can go to YouTube, search Media Boat Podcasts, find our channel, like, subscribe, comment, click the bell for notifications when we go live with a new episode. You can also see us on or hear us in podcast form on podcast catchers such as Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, search Media Boat Podcast. Social media, we're on Twitter at Media Boat Cast, Blue Sky, search Media Boat, Facebook, search Media Boat, twitch.tv/Media Boat is where you can watch Mike play football. You can also find us on the web, mediaboatpodcast.com, which is an archive of our previous shows, as well as some writing back when we did some writing on that website. And then last but not least, if you have questions, comments, feedback about the show, you can email us, mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. We will answer your emails on the show. That'll do it. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week for more thoughts, more news, more everything. We'll see you then.
We'll be back with those thoughts on I Saw the TV Glow and Challengers and possibly
What else?
Harper and Will.
Yeah.
Or Will and
That's it.
Harper. All right.
All right.
Next time. Oh, also, we get to wake up Green Day next time.
Oh,
Bye.
yeah. We'll wake up Green Day too. All right. Bye.